Man, being a housewife must be great. You can nap whenever and you've got meals provided every day. If I could be reborn, I'd want to be a woman. Totally. Just like Mom, right? She's like a parasite. You're spot on. As I washed the dishes, my husband and son laughed and chatted like this behind me. So who do they think made the dinner they're enjoying? And who does the laundry? My name is Marcia. I live with my husband Cedric and our college-aged son Davin. Every day it seems they label me a parasite, gossiping behind my back. Yes, currently I am unemployed and a housewife. However, there's a reason I became a housewife. Before marrying Cedric, I was an active professional, working hard in the corporate world. On the other hand, Cedric's job required frequent transfers and business trips, so he asked me to be a stay-at-home wife. I loved my job, but I quit to be with him. Becoming housewife was the only option. His transfers always took us away from my parents' home. Raising a child in unfamiliar places was challenging, but still, we were a happy family. About 10 years after our wedding, when our son started elementary school, Cedric said, "The days of transfers are over. We'll be living near my parents' house now." Near your parents' house? Surprise came before joy. Yes, I requested to be stationed near home. It'll be easier for you and Davin, right? It will be, but... Settling in one place was indeed a relief, but the truth was hard for me to fully embrace. From the start of our marriage, my in-laws had never really approved of me. A wife should prioritize her husband after marriage. We took you as our daughter-in-law, so you should serve us. Every time they opened their mouths, that's what I'd hear. Settled down, but now constantly summoned by in-laws. Get this, handle all the chores. They exploit me just because I'm a housewife. After enduring this for several months, my patience was at its limit. My in-laws treated me like a slave, and my husband wouldn't intervene. I grew to despise even seeing their faces and considered starting a part-time job. But then, while my in-laws were traveling, they got into an accident. While the other party was unharmed, my in-laws required care due to their injuries. Yet even in such circumstances, Cedric's nonchalant attitude remained unchanged. "Marcia, you're a housewife. You can look after my parents at home, can't you?" "What? What are you talking about?" Confused by my husband's words, I replied, "You want me to care for your parents? All by myself? What's the problem? Davin's in elementary school now. My parents said they want to be home. Housewives just lounge around all day, so you should naturally do this." "I've never done caregiving before, and handling both of them at once is..." "Stop making excuses. Who do you think has let you lead such a lazy life as a housewife up to now?" "Lounge around all day? Lazy? Remember, you wanted me to be a housewife. That's why I quit my job. I've been handling everything at home. How self-centered can you be?" If it weren't for our son, I would have surely filed for divorce. His words were that unbearable. In the end, I took up the task of caring for my in-laws. Though their bodies were frail, their minds were sharp. They took out their everyday frustrations on me. "Marcia, coffee! You really are an inconsiderate wife." "Oh, okay, right away." After one sip of the coffee I made, father-in-law abruptly threw the cup at me. "Who drinks coffee this lukewarm?" "Ah!" "You can't even make a decent cup of coffee, can you?" It wasn't just father-in-law who's overbearing. Mother-in-law was equally impossible to deal with. "Hey, Marcia, isn't the shower ready? I feel all sticky and gross." "Just a moment, please." "Never mind, just wipe my back quickly. I can't reach." "Like this? Ouch!" "Oh, I'm sorry. You're so rough. Our son is unlucky to have such an incompetent wife." Naturally, talking to my husband didn't help. Instead, he'd casually say, "You're the wife. It's only natural to serve my parents." Caring for my in-laws became so routine that I began to feel numb. It was hard, but somehow my feelings became dulled. No matter how much they belittled me or threw things, I kept telling myself it would end someday. Just need to be patient until then. That's how I got through each day. Years later, due to the onset of dementia, the need for care for my in-laws increased, and it was decided they would be admitted to a care facility. The weight on my shoulders, having spent most of my days caring for them, had noticeably lessened. However, over these years, my husband and in-laws had consistently looked down on me, and unfortunately this attitude rubbed off on our son, Davin. today, as always, Davin mocked me. Mom, just because you're not taking care of Grandpa and Grandma anymore doesn't mean you get to slack off. I can't believe you're living off Dad's earnings and doing nothing. Davin, well said, my husband chimed in, supporting our son's words. I've been fed up with your thick-skinned attitude for a while now. And by the way, when did you gain weight? Probably because you're eating full meals now that you're not caregiving. I noticed that too, but didn't have the heart to say it. The two of them openly insulted me. If I tried to leave the room, they'd just insult me louder so I could hear. Living this way daily, my stress had reached its breaking point. And then an incident pushed me past my limits. While I was doing the dishes after dinner, my husband and son started their usual chatter. Being a housewife must be nice. Napping any time and getting 3 meals a day. If I were to be reborn, I'd want to be a woman. Right? Mom's basically what you'd call a freeloader. Exactly. I swear if I ever get married, I don't want a freeloading wife like Mom. At that moment, I felt something snap inside me. Freeloader? Are you kidding me? Who do you think cooked the dinner you just ate? Who's doing these dishes? Who washes the clothes you wear and cleans the house you live in? I'll never forgive them. They've pushed me to this point, and I'll make sure they regret it. Determined to get my revenge, I began job hunting the next day. I didn't want to waste another moment on them, so I decided to work for my own future. Luckily, I quickly found a job that matched my qualifications. I used to be a nurse. I have a nursing license and plenty of experience, so finding a job was easy. Cedric should know I was a nurse. Did he not realize that with my qualifications I can easily find work? That evening, while my husband and son were having their usual conversation, I informed them, I've decided to start working from tomorrow. They first looked at me in shock, then snorted in laughter. What are you talking about? Who would hire a housewife like you? Exactly. No place would hire somebody as outdated as you, Mom. It's just part-time for a few hours, isn't it? What a waste of time. Just drop it. Mom, you can only do household chores. You should listen to what Dad says. Looking down on the two, I firmly replied, It's a full-time, permanent position, actually. What? Full-time? Permanent? You got... Mom, they hired you as a permanent employee? Yes, so from now on, I'll be contributing half to our living expenses. In return, I'd like you to share the household chores. What? Housework is your job. That's right, that's what moms are supposed to do. Facing their outbursts, I landed the finishing blow. Oh, since when was housework a job? I've never received a paycheck. I thought being a housewife meant napping whenever and living leisurely. What? They grumbled endlessly, but I ignored it. The next day I started working again. I only did the basic chores and dedicated the rest of my time to my job that I love. It was challenging after such a long break, but far more fulfilling than before. Ever since my husband and son started excessively praising me to get in my good graces. Cooking is tough. Wow, Marcia, you're incredible. I miss your cooking. Totally. No one can do laundry and cook like Mom. The best we can do is take out the trash. Thinking I'd be like, oh, well, all right then. I glanced at them and flatly said, Excuse me, I'm working too, you know. How about doing your laundry and preparing your meals? What? How dare you speak to me like that? We can't live without my income. Excuse me? That's not true at all. What? Turns out my salary is almost the same as my husband's. In fact, since I work at a large hospital, I earn slightly more. Speechless, my husband became more docile. But now my recently employed son tried to exploit the situation. Hey, since you're earning too, I don't need to chip in, right? With my husband nodding in agreement, he added, Right, actually, let's just have Marcia pay for everything. You were the one who said we can live without my money. Great idea, Dad. More allowance for us. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Tired of their childish banter, I said, All right then, both of you will handle all the chores and manage the finances within what I contribute. Why would it come to that? You're still a housewife. Dad's right. We're already doing our laundry. I might be a housewife, but first I'm a person. I'm not your maid. You! It was because of me that you even got to work. Exactly. All this time you've been relying on Dad, now you act so high and mighty. Then my husband slowly pulled out divorce papers from his bag. He slammed them on the table in front of me. I stared at the papers and asked quietly, "What's this?" "You can't see, can't you? Divorce papers. I've filled in my part. We can get divorced whenever. Got it?" "So you want a divorce?" "I didn't say that. You don't want to divorce me either, do you? I'll give you 1 day to think, cool down, and decide what's best for you." "Okay." As I began to pack my things, I could see my husband and son smirking. "Hey, where do you think you're going?" I turned and answered, "I'll stay at a business hotel near work for a while." "Fine, cool off there for a bit." And so I headed to the business hotel. I didn't have any intention of going back to that house. After checking in, I went directly to work from the hotel the next day. This continued for a few days. One evening, while relaxing with a drink, I got a call from my husband. "Marcia, have you decided? Davin's here too. Come home and cook dinner." "I've made up my mind, but I won't be coming back." "What? What are you talking about? Your son and husband are hungry and waiting. Can't you even care for your family?" "We're not family anymore." He seemed unable to comprehend and uttered a dumbfounded, "What?" "Thanks for the divorce papers. I've already submitted them." What did you say? You filed for divorce? This is a joke, right?" "A joke? Who would joke about something like this? We're now complete strangers." "What are you saying? You're acting so selfish. What about Davin?" "He's about to graduate from college. He'll be fine on his own. He's already secured a job." "You're abandoning your family?" "Goodbye." "Hey, wait a—" I hung up. The calls from him kept coming. I got fed up and blocked his number. I told my parents about the situation and asked them not to answer his calls. Seeing this opportunity, I decided to move back to my parents. Luckily, there was a branch of my workplace near my parents' home. I asked my boss and managed to transfer there. Now I rent a condo near my workplace and parents' home, and I'm working full-time, just like before. Being a full-time nurse is always busy. Having my workplace nearby is super convenient. On my days off, I visit my parents and spend more time with them. "Marcia, you're always welcome to come over. You've been pushing through all this while." "Thanks, Dad, Mom," Dad and Mom said, comforting me. On the other hand, my ex-husband and son, unable to keep up with the daily chores, their house has now reportedly become a complete mess. A week after I left, I received a message on WhatsApp from my son. "Mom, we can't handle it without you. We can't bear living like this anymore. Dad and I are at our wits' end. Please help us, Mom." The picture my son sent was truly appalling. A mountain of empty takeout containers indicating they haven't been cooking, garbage bags scattered everywhere alongside piles of laundry, floors accumulating thick layers of dust, and so on. The dirtiness was incomparable to before. I simply replied to my son, "I hope you find your parasite soon." That message must have struck a nerve, as I haven't heard from him since. I have no regrets now. I did all I could and made every possible effort to maintain the family relationship. But if they're going to look down on me that much, I'd rather distance myself from such a family. Going forward in life, I want to indulge myself. Having held back for so long, I'm determined to live a happy life.